In the shadow of a rain-slick street, a man finds a single leather glove beside a fogged mirror. No hand, no pair, just a haunting sense of déjà vu. As dreams of a forgotten woman and a laughter-laced sorrow begin to unravel his quiet life, he's drawn into a ghosted love story buried deep within fractured memory. Piece by piece, past and present collide in a tender, rain-soaked mystery where the heart remembers what the mind cannot, and where a single glove holds the key to a love once lost, and a name too sacred to forget. I remember the first droplet. Not the first time it rained, no. But the first droplet that fell on that glove. I hadn't noticed it immediately. How could I? I was too lost in the heaviness of clouds stitched into the sky, too distracted by the gray silence that had pressed itself between buildings and puddles. It was lying there, soaked in the gutter beside the old mirror shop, its surface rain-blurred, fogged like breath caught in memory. A single leather glove. Black, but glinting faintly in the amber light of the street lamp. No pair. No hand. Just left. I don't know why it unsettled me so deeply. People lose gloves all the time. But this one felt known, like a phrase I couldn't place or a melody from a dream I hadn't finished. I bent to pick it up. My fingers trembled. Not from the cold. The leather was damp, pliant. Raindrops trailed off its edge like tears from a closed eye. My thumb brushed its lining, and something flickered at the edge of my mind. A flash of color, the smell of something floral, citrus perhaps, and a hand slipping out of mine. But I don't remember who. I brought it home. Not out of sentiment. Curiosity, maybe. The rain hadn't let up. I placed the glove gently on the windowsill above the radiator, where steam ghosted the glass. And then I stared at it. It stared back in its own way. Gloveless hands feel incomplete, but this glove felt like the missing piece was me. I poured tea I didn't want. I watched the glove like it might whisper something if I waited long enough. Instead, the mirror opposite the window began to fog. I don't remember buying that mirror. It's been in the flat as long as I can recall. Oval, ornate, the kind of thing that belonged in a parlor 100 years ago. I never gave it much thought. Until the glove. Rain pressed against the window. The mirror reflected the glove, haloed by the mist. And for a moment, not longer than a breath, I saw two gloves. Side by side. One slightly smaller, with a silver thread stitched into the hem. Blinked. Only one. The second glove, the stitched one, dissolved like memory. I touched the glass. My breath fogged it again, and I waited. No change. Dreams came. Not gently. I saw her, her face never in full light, always behind the veil of wet glass or caught in the flicker of old film. She walked ahead of me, always slightly out of reach, wearing the pair of gloves. Laughing. Always laughing. But the laughter came with grief somehow. As though each peal echoed off an absence. I woke with her name on my lips. But it dissolved. Night after night I was haunted. The dreams became more vivid, detailed, filled with snapshots of a life I didn't know I'd lived. Rain on glass. Gloved fingers brushing my cheek. Petals falling in a garden I didn't recognize. The scent of lilac everywhere. And always that laugh. Light, musical and aching. It was raining again when I returned to the mirror shop. The owner didn't remember me. Or pretended not to. "This mirror," I said, pointing to a twin of the one in my apartment, standing like a secret in the back. "Did you sell one like it before?" The old man narrowed his eyes. "Maybe. Hard to say. We get pieces in from estates all the time. That one's part of a set. The twin went missing during a delivery." Missing. I looked again. The frame was chipped in the same place. A scratch on the glass, like a fingertip dragged across a frosty window. "You sure it was lost?" "Yes." He shrugged. "People lose things all the time. Gloves, mirrors, names." That word lingered in me. That night I touched the glove again. I pressed it to my cheek, foolishly. The leather held a faint scent now. Not rain. Not earth. Lilac. And bergamot. Her perfume. I know it like my own heartbeat. I know it because I once stole the bottle when she left, hoping the scent would keep her present. I never remembered who she was until now. I stood in front of the mirror. The glove lay on the sill beside me. In the glass, rain streaked the world beyond. But the reflection held something else. Another room. Another time. I was younger. She was there, laughing. She spun, one gloved hand in mine, the other brushing my cheek. "Don't forget me," she said. I promised I wouldn't. But I did. She was gone before spring. An accident. Or something worse. I never knew. The grief was too heavy. My mind folded in on itself. The doctors said I coped by erasing. By forgetting. Even now, pieces come back slowly like raindrops filling a cup. A trip to the coast. Her painting my knuckles blue for luck. A whispered joke over a broken umbrella. Nothing large, nothing whole. Only fragments. I woke on the floor beneath the mirror. The glove was gone. In its place a note. Faded but unmistakable. "Meet me where the rain began." Train station. Had always rained when we met there. The canopy leaked in one place, and we stood under that hole, sharing one umbrella. I arrived uncertain. But there she was. Her hair a little shorter. Her eyes the same. And on her hand the matching glove. No words. She reached out. And I held her hand. The feeling was immediate. Electric. As though the years had never passed. The rain around us hushed, and in that quiet, I remembered her name. Lena. It came like the dawn. Sudden, beautiful, undeniable. Later we walked. Rain fell gently. No umbrellas. We said little. Sometimes love doesn't need remembering. Sometimes it waits. Like a glove in the rain. Like a reflection in a mirror that never forgets. We didn't speak of the past. It hung between us like mist on glass. Felt but never fully seen. Her fingers in mine, the glove soft and worn, pressed gently as if it had never left. She led me not back home, but to a small greenhouse tucked behind the station, a place I didn't know I remembered until the scent of lilac struck me. She smiled. "We planted these. One rainy day. You said they'd never bloom." Turned slowly. "I don't remember." "I know," she said. "But you're starting to." Inside the greenhouse it was warm and wet with life. Our names were carved into a wooden bench, barely visible beneath moss and thyme. Rain ticked softly against the glass above us. The mirror in my flat had followed me here, in a way, reflected now in her eyes, in the curve of her cheek, in the knowing silence that passed between us. I sat beside her. The glove was in my coat pocket now, its partner still on her hand. I didn't ask how she came to have it, or how she returned. Questions had once undone me. Now I let them stay unspoken. In the hush, she leaned her head against my shoulder. "Will you forget again?" she asked. I looked at the glass above, then at the rain. "Not this time." She closed her eyes. And the mirror fogged no more. That evening we stayed until the rain became night, and night became silence. Her gloved hand in mine, we watched the lilacs sway. "Do you remember," she whispered, "when we carved the bench? You said something about names lasting longer than memory." Smiled gently. I think I wanted to believe it. Maybe it worked. I placed the glove, the one I had found, into her other hand. She looked down at the pair, now reunited, and slid it on with slow reverence. Fit perfectly. As though time had held it open just for her. "They were always meant to be worn together," she said. "So were we," I replied. Then we sat. And the bench held our weight. And the rain held our silence. And at last I remembered everything. Weeks passed. Or maybe only days. Title: A Glove in the Rain Mirror. Time unraveled strangely after that night at the greenhouse. Not linearly, like breath in cold air. It curled and dissipated before I could gather it in my palms. Elena would appear beside me at odd moments, silent as rainwater, soft as the turning of a page. She never knocked. She never had to. Sometimes she'd be standing by the window, watching the city blur into itself, as though deciphering the present through the echo of falling water. Other times I'd turn my head and she'd already be there, seated on the bench, the glove folded neatly in her lap. Always the gloves. Sometimes both worn. Sometimes one missing. I asked once, "Why are they never both with you at once?" She looked at me with a quiet sadness. "Because we're not always both here at once." I didn't understand, but I felt the truth in her voice. One morning, I woke to the sound of the mirror humming. Yes, humming. Not a sound I heard exactly, but one that sat beneath my skin, like memory too long submerged. The glove was gone from the window again. In the mirror's reflection I saw myself, but behind me, her silhouette, facing away, pale hair damp with mist, one hand raised toward the glass. Turned. Nothing. But the scent of lilac lingered. It clung to the air like longing. I began writing things down. Dream fragments, words she'd whispered, sketches of the greenhouse, the exact way rain moved down the window panes. I was terrified of losing it all again. One night, as thunder rolled distantly across the rooftops, I opened an old notebook, long forgotten in the back of my closet. Inside were pages written in a hand I recognized but couldn't remember learning. She said memories are like gloves. You lose one, and it feels wrong to wear the other. If I forget her again, let the rain remind me. I traced the ink with my finger. My heart ached in recognition. I had left myself breadcrumbs, a trail through the fog, and now I was following them back. She appeared again that night, drenched, wild-eyed, a lilac blossom caught in her coat collar. "Elena!" She didn't answer at first. Just looked at me like she had just remembered something she wasn't supposed to forget. "I need to show you," she said. Where it ended. She reached for my hand. The leather glove was cool between our palms, hers and mine, reunited once again. The walk led us to the river. The old bridge, collapsed in part, still stood like a ribcage of forgotten things. I had never remembered this place. But the moment we arrived, something hollow inside me sang. "You fell," she said, barely audible, trying to reach me. I looked at the broken rail, the spot where the rust had bloomed like old blood. "You were afraid," she continued. "You thought I had gone, so you ran." The rain made the wood slick. "Your head." I touched the scar behind my ear. "Faint. Faded. But present." "That's when I lost you," she whispered. The wind caught her voice like a prayer that wasn't meant to be heard. She had stayed. All those years. Tending lilacs I never remembered planting. Returning to mirrors I had forgotten to look into. Wearing only one glove, waiting for me to find the other. "Elena," I said, my voice breaking around her name. "I should have remembered." "You couldn't," she replied. "You had to forget. To survive." "But you didn't," I said. "You remembered for both of us." She looked out across the river. "I never stopped wearing this," she said, raising her gloved hand. "Even when I hated you for leaving me." "I didn't mean to leave," I said. "I never wanted to." "I know," she whispered. Then she handed me the other glove. My glove. The one that had sat on the windowsill, whispering stories through fog and shadow. We slid them on together. And this time they fit. Back at the apartment, the mirror no longer fogged. It reflected what was there, truly there. Two people older now. Weathered by time and silence and rain. We didn't speak for a long while. Sometimes love, once remembered, needs no words. Instead I took her hand. We sat in the chair by the window, watching droplets thread down the pane like stories. She leaned her head against my shoulder, her breath steady, full of things we'd once forgotten. I glanced at the mirror. No ghost. No flickers. Yes. Complete. In the weeks that followed, life became something like before, but fuller somehow. Not new. Not old. Something remembered and rebuilt. We returned often to the greenhouse. Cleaned the moss from the bench. Planted new lilacs. Wrote names on wooden markers. And one more. Lara. I hadn't remembered her until the last dream came. Clear as water. She had been ours. That final memory broke through like lightning through cloud. Child. Her laughter, our laughter, echoing through that same greenhouse. Small hands tugging on gloves too big, pretending to be like her parents. That rainy afternoon, the three of us watching droplets blur the glass above. Then the scream, the slip, and silence. Elena had grieved alone. I had run into forgetting, into fog. I had blamed myself in silence, in ways even I didn't understand. So I buried the memory, and with it, all of her. The next day we returned to the bridge. Together this time. We left both gloves there, beneath the rail where the rust still told its quiet tale. Not in mourning, but in remembrance. The rain fell softly, no thunder now. Only quiet. Elena reached into her coat and removed a new pair of gloves. Oven. Green. The color of lilac stems. She handed me one. "Let's not lose these," she said. Smiled. "No more forgetting." We walked back through the rain. 2 hands, 2 gloves. And nothing left in the mirror but now.